I'm probably not the only person here who recognises the concept of having to finish all your dinner, am I? But even though it said it there, I still don't think it's bad because it's been drummed into me. I can't escape that. It seems like a good idea to eat all my dinner. But it's saying here, what it's actually saying is that even that is one of those ideas that maybe you don't feel, maybe you feel full before you finish your dinner, and maybe that's okay. Maybe put less on your plate to start with. Maybe you'll learn to do that after more mindful eating practice. But just eating it because it's on your plate, that's not mindful eating. That's doing the thing because you've had it drummed into you, because of your routine and your social conditioning, and we're breaking away from that. It's interesting. Kilobytes are up to 6. Oh no, they're down to 3. Oh, they're up to 4. Oh, they're 4, 4, 5. Red though. Yellow, green, red. Oh, you see, this is a kilobytes per second issue, and we've been having this issue this week. Should have been streaming a bit more this week, but thanks to the internet, at the behest of the internet, I've decided can't, because of the old kilobytes per second issue. So if you're seeing this with me hair all jerky, my face all jerky, I'm not all jerky. It's just doing it on the old screen. Something to do with the upload speed, and this last week our upload speed from here to you in the internet has been really poor. Been checking it on speed checker all the time. There was once at the weekend where I thought, oh, this internet speed's actually back up to normal now. It's back up to the old 20 kbps kb/s. It's back up anyway at the weekend, so I needed that time to upload as many videos to the new channel as possible. So we're going to crack on with Mental Health Monday. This is Mental Health Monday. A nice herky-jerky mental health session. Get on with it. Mindful eating. That's what we're doing today. A nice bit of mindful eating. I'm not actually going to be eating stuff on camera, as much as that has grown as its own... that's grown, hasn't it, as its own thing on the internet. I'm not disparaging of that. Some people like watching other people eat. I find it a little distasteful to force other people to watch me eat, so that's not going to happen. But we are going to talk about mindful eating. Let's get on with it. Do you want me to do the little introduction? Hi, you're with Scott. This is Mental Health Monday. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear. They won't know what that is on Mental Health Monday, will they? They won't know anything about your right ear and your left ear, and your. They will, because it's you. You know about it. You know about it. So today, mindful eating. We talked about mindfulness in a previous broadcast, so if you'd like to check the previous broadcasts and have a look at that, then you can have a look at that. There's your little plug, there's your get started plug. And the first thing I should always say, let's bring this one up. If you're coming to Mental Health Monday and you think, what's this guy jaffing on about? Why is he laughing? Mental health is serious. Why is he making jokes? I feel bad. I'm looking for some support. You can come here and talk to us in chat. We're always ready to ditch what we're doing. And is it gonna roll for me? Thank you, rolling. We're always ready to ditch. Oh, the kilobytes are going really low. We're just going to push on. I'm going to pretend like it's working the whole time, and if it's not, it doesn't, and whatever. I'm going to do an hour on this. This is important. So if you ever feel like you want to talk about anything, just come and do it. We'll put down mindful eating, and we'll talk about it next time. Easy. So we're here. But also the Samaritans, if you're feeling at crisis point, call the Samaritans. They do a good job. Even if you're worried about X, Y, Z, and you think it's something that you just want to talk it over with someone, there's a phone line you can call. They're strangers in a good way. They're not going to judge you. They're just going to listen to you, help support you. So that's a good actionable thing, resource there, the Samaritans. So mindful eating. Mindful eating places awareness on the menu. wherever, whenever, and wherever we eat. As well as making us watchful about what we eat, it aims to transform our relationship with food by focusing on the how and the why of eating, encouraging a more holistic, whole body point of view. Ultimately, this means we have a better chance of understanding which foods nourish us, and which foods help us, what foods help us stay healthy. I'd say which. It's not really a grammar lesson. Which foods help us stay healthy, while also encouraging a deeper appreciation of every meal, every mouthful, and every ingredient. That sounds good. That sounds good. Start your free trial. Well, you can do that for free by eating. So don't worry about their free trial. We'll talk about it today, and you'll be able to do it without clicking on anything. Engage the senses. When was the last time you truly paid attention to what you were eating? Excuse me. Let's just shuffle it over there. Shuffle that. So now you can read it as well. It gets annoying if you've read something and the person reading it is reading it slower, doesn't it? And in the time that I'm talking, you're probably reading it. Well, you're naughty. You're naughty, aren't you? You stop that. I'm doing the reading around here. You just sit back and relax. You don't have to. You can look at that little picture. Don't you start looking at the words? Don't you start assimilating those words into context in your mind? Don't you start using your brain to process the different meanings and, select from an array of different emotive feelings and meanings and ascribe them to those words in your mind very quickly? Don't do that. You're doing it. I know you're doing it. I'll turn it off. I can turn it off, look. I can turn it off. There you go. There's nothing wrong with your screen. That's just I've turned it off. That's what you get. That's what you get for being naughty. Everyone else. None of you, not you. Yours is turned off. Everyone else. We're gonna. No, come on. Look, I'll go back to yours. All right, now I'll turn yours on. Okay, now you can come in. Come on, we'll all do. I know you're reading it. You and your quick reading. That's all right. Just be patient with me while I read through it as well, because we all want to hear it, don't we? We all want to hear it. Maybe you could read it out for us another time. Engage the senses. When was the last time you truly paid attention to what you're eating? I know I've read this bit before. I know. Yeah, you were there. I remember. We were both there. I remember. I just thought I'd start from the start again because it makes more sense, doesn't it? I can't just keep chopping in and out, can I? Let's do it. All right. When was the last time you truly paid attention to what you were eating? I did it differently that time, didn't I? Did you like that? I did it differently. This time I said you. I put more attention, more emphasis on you then. When was the last time you truly paid attention to what you were eating? This time I gave it a head nod. You might not have been able to see it with the herky-jerky internet. When was the last time you truly paid attention to what you were eating? I've done it how many times now? We should have been counting. Shouldn't we? If you knew it was going to be like this, you'd have never tuned in. When you truly savoured the experience of food, hang on, don't go anywhere. You stay right here. You might think you've read through it. You might think you can click on Headspace on your own and jump ahead. But the rest of us rely on you to help us through it. So often we eat on autopilot. I just went in the middle there. It didn't make so much sense, did it? Let me go from the start. When was the last time you truly paid attention to what you were eating? When you truly savoured the experience of food? Often we eat on autopilot, chowing down a meal while our attention is on the TV or the screen of our devices. Hello. Or a book or a daydream. These are the options here at the bottom there. You can pay attention to the TV while you're eating, choff, 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 chow, chow, chow. You could pay attention to the screen of your device, which includes your TV, that's a device. Or a book, that's stretching it. Not allowed to bring books to the table. Oh yeah, so, manners is not universal, is it? Table manners, they're not universal. So, it's cultural. Not allowed to bring books to the table in my house. You might not be eating at the table, mightn't you? You might be sat in front of the TV. In that case, you wouldn't be reading a book. For the young people, books are. I haven't even got one in the room. How embarrassing that I haven't even got one in the room. I've got a little magazine. It's like a magazine. You can imagine it. This is just adverts. They put this through the letterbox, and it's just adverts for different businesses. So that's what books will be like in the future. That's what they are now. That's not a book. Sorry, but for the young people, they do that, don't they? When they talk about a cassette tape or a VHS, they say for the young people, and I think to myself, no. That was what it was like when I was growing up. I'm a young people. How can you be talking to somebody other than me? And then I realised, yeah, for the young people. but just because you didn't grow up with it, like as your standard medium of audio connect, just because that wasn't the only way you listen to your music. Books were around before the internet and stuff. We don't explain books, do we? I did, but maybe we don't need to explain tapes and vinyl, and I don't know. Maybe we do. I don't know. This is Mental Health Monday. Have you been off in a daydream? Have you been on autopilot, listening to me chamble? Because this is the thing. When you're eating, are you truly savouring the experience? That's the question that we're asking. Are you on autopilot, just chopping away? Mindfulness invites us to remove those distractions and see it. I'll move it over so you can see. Move me. Move the big. There you go. Look. Uninterrupted is the word I stumbled over there. Uninterrupted. Interrupted myself with a distraction because I couldn't read the cheffing word. Mindfulness invites us to remove those distractions and sit uninterrupted with our food and fellow diners. It's all right to be interrupting all the time. This is a bit of escapism for me. Taking your mind off things. So, it's all right for me to keep doing that. But, I will have to shut up and let myself get on with it. Mindfulness invites us to remove those distractions and sit uninterrupted with our food and fellow diners. In doing so, we begin to take time over a meal. In eating more slowly, we savour the flavours, the aromas, that's how it smells, and the textures. You don't often put your hands in your food. I think they mean mouthfeel, what it's like in your mouth, the textures, because texture I associate with that, doing that. You could find out how the texture of food is by rubbing it on your face. That's a whole different kind of story. And I have got an interesting story about that another time. We reconnect with our senses. That's just a sentence on its own now. I should have read the whole thing all over again to connect it. But it's the sentence that keeps coming up. It's just about the same thing. That one's not necessary. We reconnect with our senses. We covered that in the last one. What we're doing, we're taking time over our meal. Look at this, down to 2,000 kilobytes, still running, 3,000 up. The effing cheffing internet. So, this is about taking time to eat slowly, savour flavours and aromas. It's more than that, though. It is more than that. We're going to come on and see that in a minute. Once we bring our attention to the entire experience of eating, we stop getting lost in the thinking mind and become less caught up in any complicated emotions we might have around food. So this is important. I'm going to take it back a step because I missed an important bit as well. Let's be real. This has... uninterrupted with our food and fellow diners, remove these distractions. Now, I would suggest that eating socially is actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing. Having other people around, talking to them, good thing. But mindfulness invites us to remove those distractions and sit uninterrupted with our food. Oh, and fellow diners. Yeah. So we're not having the interruptions, we're just having the food in the diners. That's cool. But that's the first key point. We're focusing on the actual experience of having the meal. We're not eating the meal at the same time as doing X, Y, Z. We're not on the way to the thing and we're chuffing this down. We're not writing our dissertation and eating the kilobytes. I shouldn't look at the picture down at the bottom because it keeps pausing. We crack on. There's no option. There's only forward now. I've spent a week fuddling with it. There's only forward. Next. Once we bring our attention to the entire experience of eating, we stop getting lost in the thinking mind and caught up in any complicated emotions we might have around food. That's interesting, isn't it? Complicated emotion, because we talked about eating disorders before, and I was worried that doing this Mental Health Monday, talking about eating disorders and then bringing up mindful eating might actually, thinking about what you're eating, when you're eating it, that might provoke unintentionally some sort of I shouldn't pause like that because otherwise you won't know if it's just the internet or if it's me pausing. Yeah, it might provoke unintentionally some sort of eating disorder response in people. I don't want to do that. So I was careful to review this before we had a good look at it. And it's not bad, it's good. It can help with eating disorders, so that's cool. Because if you've got complicated emotions tied up around the food, the mindful practice when you're eating can actually help to dissipate them, allow them to dissolve. Quite simply, we allow ourselves to be reacquainted with the pleasure of eating. So that's cool. There's a bit more writing. There's quite a lot of writing in this. There's quite a lot of writing in it. Look at all that. Whoa. Can't read everything. I can't. You can. Not now. A bit later. Let's get through this a little bit quicker. No more restrictions. To be clear, on its own, mindful eating is not a diet. No radical cleanses, no eliminating certain foods, no clearing out your cupboards, no fads, no quick fixes. I think it's really interesting to alight on this point because this is one of the things I wanted to, from that point about eating disorders into this point about no restrictions, is that quite often a diet, and we're going to see in a minute how mindful eating can actually help with weight loss, as the Harvard Health Medical School studies have proved. So it is useful in that context. Oh, thanks Harvard for your interrupter. I do the interruptions around here. So it can help with that. But often diets for when people are looking at weight loss, things like that, healthy eating, gym building, whatever, often they tell you what you should be eating or should not be eating. Here's your list of foods, here's your calorie limit and things of this, and often they decide that about you. But what's interesting about mindful eating is that it allows you to decide best for you about that. And that's just like flip that, haven't they? They flip that in a really interesting and useful way. So we'll find out more about that in a minute. Mindful eating simply invites us to be present while cooking and eating. Truly so. We said that before. It's worth noting, any time we choose food based on a certain outcome, we're not eating mindfully, we're eating with a means to an end, which is potentially self-defeating. It's quite complicated. Conventional diet culture causes much of our stress around eating. People obsessed with being thin might undereat, whereas people who overeat might ignore feelings of fullness. When people internalise ideas built around dieting, the pressures and the emotions are heightened. So yeah, we're not going that way. Bringing mindfulness to the table means a kinder, gentler approach to eating. The focus isn't necessarily on changing the food we eat, it's changing our thinking about food. And I guess when, the cognitive triangle, we looked at that before, how your thoughts influence your behaviours, influence your feelings. If you change how you think about food, then you might change how you feel about it, and it might change what you actually eat. So it might work. Listen to your gut. Mine's not rumbling right now. Interesting point. Because I like to say things that are interesting. Is that you actually have neurons, like brain neurons, around your gut. It's like a network. I'm not an expert scientist, but that's interesting. It's interesting. Being aware of your thoughts and emotions is one thing, but being aware of what's happening in our stomachs brings a whole other layer to our awareness. When we've burned up all the food in our bellies and blood sugar levels become low, our stomachs secrete a hormone called ghrelin, which sends a signal to the hunger centre in our brains to stimulate our appetite. Conversely, when we're full, fat tissues secrete a hormone called leptin, which signals the brain that we're full. I said I wasn't a science. Now I am. I'm not. Whoa, that sounded really scientific. Well done. Yeah, ghrelin and leptin. The problem, most scientists agree, and do I agree? I agree. I'm not a scientist. Dishwashers live longer with... Don't know why the hood makes a difference. But scientists agree. But they do, in reality, the actual real science. I showed you a bit of it a minute ago. I looked into it to make sure it's true. Scientists agree that it takes a good 20 minutes before that message is received. Therefore, much of our overeating happens during that 20-minute window. What are they saying? They're saying that when you're hungry, you eat. That's fine. That's normal. But when you're eating, you get full. It takes 20 minutes for your body to tell you, 20 minutes. I've got 20 minutes more eating time. I'll have the cake. I will actually. I've got the cake right here. Got this bit of cake, especially for this episode, in case we're going to be doing any eating. Got it there. I'll have the cake. And I won't know I don't want the cake because I didn't leave 20 minutes in between courses. 20 minutes. Are you waiting for your 20 minutes? Wait, true. I've been waiting 20 minutes. I haven't. I haven't been out for 2 years. I'm not agoraphobic because of the COVID. Waiter, I've been waiting 20 minutes for my entrees, for my mains. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting 20 minutes to make sure I know I'm not hungry before I order any more cake. That's what I'm waiting for. That's the thing you want to take from that. Listen to your gut. Interesting new bit of science that we didn't know. Eat something. Not sure if you're full or not. Think you might have had enough. Just, leave it 20 minutes. See if you still feel the same. Interesting. Through mindful eating, we can tune into our bodies and become more aware. Yeah. We can gauge when we're satisfied without waiting 20 minutes. We learn to be one step ahead of ourselves. So you don't have to do the 20-minute. You just told me I did. No, you don't. You don't. No, you'll get. Well, if you're doing your mindful eating, only if you're tuned in to when you're satiated. That's what I should have said. We tend not to recognise such cues because, as children, many of us were taught to ignore our bodies. You're not leaving the table until you finish your plate, or you can't be hungry. It's not dinner time. I recognise those. That's funny, isn't it? That's funny. You're not allowed to leave till you've eaten everything. What if there are things you don't like? You're not allowed to have choices and likes. You are now, I suppose. I bet you are now. If you were my kid, you would. Eat what you want, except have this, because it's going to be nutritious. That'll be a battle. I see how it works. Are you sure you need seconds? Our conditioning around food starts early, so when talking to our own children, we can use these same cues. Our conditioning around food starts early, so when talking to our own children, we can use these same cues to show them how to listen to their states of hunger and fullness rather than ignore them. Knowing what your body needs. There's a lot here. Think about the questions most people don't ask themselves. How hungry am I actually? What does my body need? How satiated do I feel halfway through this meal? Am I scarfing down my food or enjoying it? Am I denying myself food because I like it or think it's bad? Is this portion too much or not enough? I mean, maybe we do ask these questions, maybe we don't. A 2013 study found people who implemented mindful eating into their lives ate smaller portions. Awareness is something we can also bring to the supermarket and the kitchen. It helps us learn not to make choices that are automatically influenced by external thoughts, but instead by our own internal knowledge of what our bodies need. That would be difficult in the supermarket with all their chuff going on. The mind's powerful, and when left untrained, it can be susceptible to both emotion and habit. That's all the chuff that goes on. So what's your relationship to food? I'm just going to pop that up there with this little picture. Hello there, Mbibs. Scarfing, is that posh scarfing? Yeah, it must be, mustn't it? They got their own word there, scarfing. I mean, I wear a scarf. Not all the time, when it's cold. Put my scarf on when it's cold. So, yeah, scarf. I didn't realise. I mean, maybe I'm not going to check the dictionary, but I'm just going to accept that it counts. Everyone's relationship to food is different. In the same way, everyone's bodies are different. There's no one perfect way to eat. In the same way, there's no one perfect body. We each have our own genetics, metabolisms, preferences, and priorities. That's cool. It's interesting, isn't it? Like you can completely, yeah, absolutely, we're all different. But then we're all similar in enough ways to make it meaningful that we're all the same in certain ways. You know, we all need to eat. Oh, we all knock the microphone when we're waving our hands when we're talking. You can't all see me talking because I'm only little on my face. Everyone's relationship to food is different, but it's all similar as well. And yeah, I don't know. It's cool, isn't it? It's cool. That's cool. Some of us gorge, some of us graze. Again, I'd say some of us, all of us do both, don't we? Maybe some of us more often eating more different habits, different ways, but pretty sure all of us have had a bit of a gorge, haven't we? Bit of a Georgie. Some of us graze. Pretty sure, you know, depending on situation, we've had a bit of a graze. Some snack, some comfort eat, some undereat, and others overeat. Again, I think we can all say that we've all eaten something for comfort value as opposed to nutritional content. We've all had a snack. Hopefully you've had a snack. If you haven't had a snack, I really do. Actually, I'm laughing about that, but there are people out there who don't have a snack because they're struggling. We've all eaten a bit too much cake one time. So, you know, we all have really. But for those people that are struggling, they're not watching me talk about mindful eating, are they, on the internet? They're busy doing something else. So I didn't laugh in their face then, and I'm not laughing in their face now. But some undereat, others overeat. Some are gym bunnies obsessing about stacking on the pounds, while others are diet junkies. Diet junkies, did I read that right? Junkies, like, that's a heavy word for diets. Not an expert in that area. He says eating a small piece of cake. Small piece. Knowing who we are and being honest with ourselves helps us understand why we eat the way we do. I've got to eat this now. You can't even read it because I've pushed it over the side there. Look, let's move it so you can. That's a good picture of a bit of cake, though, isn't it? That's a nice bit of cake picture. Let's get them all on the screen together. This is a good bit of writing as well. I like this. Food doesn't just jump to the plate or from the shelves on its own. Looking at you. We're looking at you. We're looking at everyone. That's how it comes, isn't it? We do it. Food doesn't. It takes a hand to reach out and choose a certain item, and more often than not, that action's based on our thoughts and our feelings around food. Cognitive triangle. Your thoughts influence your feelings influence your thoughts. Both of those things are influencing your actions, in this case, your choice around food. So these things are going on, rather than the nutritional requirements or a regime of what's good for our bodies. And pushed to the other extent, you know, some people are following that nutritional regime. I'm not saying here that mindful eating is going to turn you into a strict disciplinarian around those sort of aspects of eating, nutrition, and you can still enjoy your cake. Holding it up, you can't see it. There it is. That's only a little bit, isn't it? It looks funny because it hasn't got any. It's vegan, isn't it? So it's got none. So it looks a bit funny, but it's cake, I promise you. And it's all about enjoying things and the way they taste and what they are and things like that. So maybe some people think about these regimes of what's good for you, these healthy foods, as being, I don't really like that. Salad. Asmongold. I'm not going to eat a salad. But these are foods that for millions of years humans have existed on and enjoyed. Like we've evolved alongside, vegetables and fruits. And we're going to look at that more a little bit later in this episode, hopefully, if I can get my talking done. But yeah, so there's a lot of joy in those foods that maybe you don't appreciate because you're not taking time to appreciate them for the different reasons. This mindful eating might bring out some of that joy. And it's a bit of a balance, I think, at the good end, where you're looking at nutrition and you're looking at what's good for you, but you're also enjoying things because you like eating them. That's comfort food. These are the reasons. When you're not understanding why you're doing it and you're just doing it out of habit, can be detrimental. But if you choose to decide to eat something for comfort reasons, that doesn't mean that you're ruining your head or your health. You can do that sometimes. That's okay as well. The more we notice how our daily food intake is influenced by those thoughts and emotions, the more we notice those patterns and how we've been conditioned over the years. Now that's interesting. And that's big. They just slip it in there. Being conditioned over the years, recognising the early influences. This society that we live in. Hello there, Stella. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to have you here. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I don't always look at everything in the chat, and then I just do you see faces and cakes? So it's nice to have you here, Stella. And do I see faces and cakes? If so, don't eat it. Or do you mean feces? No, I don't. I've never looked for a face in a cake. Mine don't have features. Pretty even all the way through there. Consistency. Dense. Quite dense. Is this 18 plus? This is not 18 plus. Although it depends. It depends. I don't know where that question's going. So is this 18? Yeah, I'm not going to do anything rude. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to do anything rude, and I should hope you wouldn't either. We're going to be nice to each other. Everything's going to be nice. If your cake says "Don't eat me," if it's physically saying it, you shouldn't. Oh, if it's got a face on like that picture as well, yeah. If you see that face on it, then probably no. Probably get it on the old internet. Probably get your phone and video it, put it on the internet, get 1 million views out of your cake facecake.com. You can start once you've got your 1 million views, then you start your .com and you put your bags out and your hats. I like the ulcer cake. Now I'm being dragged into a cake-based conversation, and whilst I'm eating cake, and I'm an advocate for cake. Absolutely, big fan of cake. Now you got me doing it. I'm doing it. That happened by accident. That wasn't mindful eating. It was just that close to my face. I thought, hello. Mouth went into action. That was autopilot. That's what I'm telling you not to do. Oh no. That was a bad example of mindful eating. Not a good. That was bad. The point we're making here, aside from cake, is how we've been conditioned over the years. All right. I really think this is important. I really want to make a point about this. Is the ideas have sort of been handed down from generation to generation, depending on where you live, depending on which part of the world you're in. You'll have different ideas about what you should be eating, what you normally eat, what you see as being exotic or different or those ideas will be different around the world. And how we've been conditioned, it actually used to be the case Really interesting point this. After the Second World War, there was a bit of a problem. And I certainly know this in Britain, a bit of a problem. The old food, the rations, the amount of food they had, the amount of people working in the fields, those sort of things, a bit of a problem. People weren't spending so much money on foods, luxuries. They didn't have so much money. Things were difficult. We had a war. It finished. They were rebuilding. As part of that rebuilding process, the government tried to educate people to keep them healthy, and also to support industries like the dairy industry and the meat industry, the farmers, because the farmers who own a lot of land have a lot of influence on the government, because the people who own lots of land end up being quite rich and put a lot of say and sway. These big farmers. Big Pharma. I'm not talking about Big Pharma, I'm talking about farming. So anyway, so there was this like campaign by the government to teach people, go to work on an egg, eat more of this, eat some of them. And it was promoting certain ways and things. Over the years, we discovered things were wrong in that campaign. It's not a good idea to eat an egg every day for breakfast. High cholesterol. It's not a good idea to eat lots of red meat. High cholesterol, bad for your body. Like, we're learning now with modern science more about what's good for our bodies, and the things that maybe my granddad would have said were healthy, some of them were, like carrots are good for you. My granddad used to say carrots are good for your eyes, and they are. Vitamin K in carrots, I think it is good for your eyes, and the fish is brain food. Well, I'm a vegan now, so let the fish eat their own brain. Don't eat your own brains, let the fish have their own brains. But point being that we've got new ideas about what's healthy. So what we've been conditioned to do over the years, eat a turkey at Christmas, have a hamburger, have a pie at the football. These ideas might not be the best ideas. They're just what we've been doing over the years. Traditions, the way we used to cook 100 years ago, we like to keep them up. They're interesting, they're part of culture, but they don't have to be your regular everyday mealtime. You don't have to eat like people did 100 years ago. You don't have to do that. You can throw that all away, all that 100-year-old rubbish ideas. Some of them are good ideas. Some of them are nice dishes. Yes, absolutely. But you don't have. You can start from scratch and say, what's a good idea for me to eat? What is actually a good idea for me to eat? Are crisps and chips? Are they really? I eat them because they're there all the time. All my life, I've never not known potato chips. Never not known crisps. Never not known. Always been around. But have I consciously been choosing the right things for me? Is that good? I don't know. I mean, should I look into it? You can look into it. All the information is out there now. So breaking that conditioning, that's one thing. But then it's not easy, because if you're in a family and your mom's doing the cooking, your dad's doing the cooking, they're giving you what you should eat. You're not, I'm breaking the conditioning. You're not cooking that for me anymore. Oh, here's trouble. Here's trouble. It's not easy all the time to break that conditioning. Sometimes you have to be positive about it, and I'll talk about that at the end of this broadcast, hopefully, if we've got time, how to positively change that conditioning. But the more we recognise the influence, the better positioned we are to decide what to eat and when to choose to eat. And that influence is more than just this family cultural idea of your favourite local dishes or cultural dishes. It's also the culture that you live in, you go to school in, you go to work in, the Subway sandwich shop, the McDonald's. It's also that rubbish that's constantly in your face, on your phone giving you the adverts, in your house on the telly giving you the adverts. It's constantly been piped into your brain, all that rubbish. They're doing it because they want to make money, and they think that the easy way to make money from them is to use something quite cheap and sell it for quite a lot, and churn it out. So your soda from your fast food restaurant, like Asmongold loves, bless him, that's just very cheap to them. It's very cheap rubbish to them. Sugar water, very cheap rubbish, but they make a lot of money. In America, you can get huge. I mean, you've seen how much soda you can get for your money in America. That's how cheap rubbish it is to them. They're just chuffing it out. They're still making money on the chuffer. And the other stuff, the other food that you're getting in your fast food restaurants, they've not thought about what's best for you to eat. They've thought about what's best to make them money. So that's part of this conditioning culture that's going on. And luckily, there are other voices now that can be heard in different ways. It's not just about who's got the most money these days. It's important now for society to not destroy their people. So they've started to tell you more about things that are good for you and why they're good for you. That's happening. So that's good. So what we eat is our business and our business alone. Ha! Keep your nose out of my dinner. I don't think that. I don't think that's entirely true. I don't think that's entirely true. I think we can share ideas. I think we can share ideas, and I think if I'm, how should I put this? If I'm eating something that's detrimental to me and my health, I would expect you to come over and knock it out. Don't eat that hot dog, it's got poison on it. Thanks. It might seem like, what the fuck are you doing? That's my hot dog on the floor. It had poison in it. So maybe that, but also, on a slightly less level, mate, your hot dog is bad for you. Eat it if you want. It's up to you. I'm not going to knock it out of your mouth, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not our business alone. Maybe it is. But mindful eating helps us to determine what's right for our bodies and our health. That's cool. And interesting, they started here. Food doesn't jump to the plate or from the shelves on its own. So they're asking you to think about these things before you even get to the dinner, before you even started chuffling it. Think about why you're eating, what choices you want to make in the supermarket before you get there. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. Probably quite good for us. Well, I say probably. Scientifically, this isn't the only. I thought this was the most provocative. Oh, hello. I thought this was the most provocative one, though. This isn't the only bit of medical journal that I've been reading on this subject over the last week. But it is a nice provocative one. Look. And it's Harvard. They're posh. Posher than me. So, yeah, it's true. It's science. And this website's got these nice pictures of bananas. So if you don't like the science, we've got everything. Haven't we? Got the bananas, got the science. That's double whammy. For people who undereat, this effective awareness, maybe they eat more. For people who tend to overeat, maybe they consume less. Others find their eating patterns remain the same while their thinking around food changes. In this respect, mindful eating is an equalizer. Everyone can get something out of it. It helps us to find a balance in how we relate to food. So maybe that's what they meant when they said equalizer, because I took it for a different meaning, but maybe they mean the balance. A nice balance. That's what I was saying earlier. You don't have to be, purely raw vegetables. That's not what we're looking for. And we'll talk about veganism a little bit later. I keep mentioning it a little bit. I am vegan. Oh, it always comes up. Oh, you always talk about it. Why do you always talk about it? Well, you can't talk about food without talking about food, can you? So we're going to talk about it, but equalizer in that we're creating more of a balance. So that's going to be healthy. And being balanced means you can have some of the things that maybe we're going to say, oh, they're a bit naughty. But maybe you can have some of them. Bringing awareness to the table. Oh, go on then, I'll read it. What do you think? Should I read it? It's quite a lot. The first bit, so I've read this before, so I don't know which bits are most pertinent for you, but I've read it before. Mindfulness inserts a pause to help us be aware of our own decision making. We kind of have covered that before. And only when we stop to notice this chain of events can we change our behaviour or thinking about food. So you have to do it a little bit earlier than once you've started cutting up the food. Once you've sat down and looked at the menu, they're asking you to start thinking a little bit before that. With observational awareness, we're more likely to see how reactive or impulsive we are at times. And they talk about the restaurant menu and planning your grocery list, which is kind of what we just talked about. Imagine what it'd be like to be no longer led by our inner dialogue around food. Imagine instead we have a more balanced, carefree attitude, freed from the shackles of poor eating habits. As we step away from all the unhealthy thinking around food, we cultivate a sustainable and balanced approach to the way we eat and the way we look. Essentially, we get to re-educate ourselves. We get to enjoy food again. That sounds nice for everyone. Got a little bit of cake in my teeth. Enjoying that for the second time again. Enjoying that again. Food for thought. And look, is it our little friend, the avocado? Look, it's our little friend, the avocado. Us vegans, we love an avocado. Love an avocado. Oh, look at that. Oh. But actually, hang on. This avocado, that's 2 slices. That's 1 avocado sliced down the middle and separated out, isn't it? And there's the stone in the one half, and the other side, sandstone. I mean, if you did slice now, the eyes would be on the outside. I'm not expecting 2 halves in the middle. Like separate. They'd be like Siamese twins, wouldn't they, if I hadn't interjected? And lucky you've cut them in down the exact right plane. Or were they sandwiched looking at each other? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you want to stick little eyes and face on, you're going to have to just rethink this one. And now that I've thought about that, going back up, what's happening with Mr. Cake here? Mrs. Cake of non-specific gender. I mean, it's got a shorty haircut and some sparkles. It could, there's no gender definition there. Why did I ascribe male characteristics to it? Because of the patriarchy. Because I've been conditioned by the patriarchy all my life. And I'm trying to break out of it. I'm trying. So look, this is the cake. And the cake's got a face. But that's a slice of cake. And now its face has been revealed. Hath been revealed. Did the cake entire not have face? Was the slice inside the cake the whole time? It's blowing my mind. I don't think it makes sense. They're just root vegetables. They've got faces. That makes sense. That's a root vegetable with a face. They have got legs. This has got legs and it's holding an onion, so we must assume that's a person because they're holding an onion, and to scale, if they were a root vegetable, the onion would be the same size as them, so that's a person. That gives us a general, person, head, body, legs, arms, person. So that is possibly a person, more likely a root vegetable, but this one's got arms, you see, and legs. There they are in the middle of, I'm giving them the benefit of calling them a root vegetable, but if it was on South Park, it may look like a different character. But root vegetable, we'll go with root vegetable. The others are root vegetables, clearly. Look, that one on top is a little turnip, isn't it? And then you've got a little butternut squash in the bottom right corner. And I'd say maybe a carrot, top left, snub carrot. Right, they're root vegetables. We'll go with root vegetables. Cake. Slice of. That's where the problem starts, is the slice of cake. It's got a face. The whole cake needed to have a face. So that's problematic. Banana, again, look, what's happened to banana? Banana has a face. And once you peel banana's face back, you reveal an inner face. A winky face. Was that a fake face on the front of the banana? Is that a fake face? Nature does these things, doesn't it? Like an animal, like an anglerfish might have a fake thing hanging out in front that's not really a little fishy like it looks like. It's just something hanging out in front. Or a bird might have plumage that looks like eyes, like a peacock, and they're not really eyes, they're fake eyes. That might be what's happening to the banana there. That's a protective shell, and it's fake eyes scaring away but underneath it really does have a face right there in the same place, so it wouldn't make sense. Winking at you. And the avocado is 2 slices of the same whole. Both of them happy. Happy about the enforced separation. Just going to quickly run down. We'll save the others until we get there. So that's the faces of the fruits and the inconsistency. This is Mental Health Monday, every Monday at 8 p.m. GMT here on Twitch, regardless of the internet speed and capability, every Monday. How often do you think about food on any given day? You might travel by a fruit stand on your commute, for example, or perhaps at mid-morning your attention switches to what you're going to have for lunch. Maybe you do, who's writing this. Maybe you work in the metropolitan commute and you walk past your fruit stall. I don't go out. I live in a house. I don't go out because of COVID. But I do think about food. I'm thinking about it now. Maybe you're craving a big juicy steak. Ugh, no thanks. Maybe all you can think about while heading home is that ripe avocado waiting for you on the counter. In my house, the cat would have knocked it off. Food can't be blamed for any of these thoughts. Food is simply the object of our fascination and cravings. It has no power over us in of itself. The power rests in our emotions, our conditioning, and our decisions. We have inadvertently trained ourselves to listen to voices in our head, voices from the past and messages we've internalized from the media. We might restrict ourselves because we're obsessed with being thin, or we might eat everything on our plates because that's what some adult drummed into us. And that's this is on another level now. That's a happy. Is it a light bulb? It's not, is it? It's not a light bulb. Everything else has been a vegetable. Could it be a vegetable? Eating a sandwich. Hi Snips, nice to see you. This is a good topic. It is. It's just not a good internet connection, unfortunately. But coming up to the hour, I was going to do an hour. I was going to fit in some other stuff at the end as well about housekeeping and bits and pieces. But no, we're pushing. This Harvard Medical Health, look, proof, science, mindful eating, proof. And we're running through a bit more of a light-hearted web page. That's giving us a good overview. And then we're going to get on to 6 ways to practice it. And then I'm going to talk about vegans. They're not vegans. That's vegan stuff. What? Get that off them. Get that off. Get that off. But I will mention it briefly at the end, all the way through and at the end. And we've also been seeing that these little faces, these little characters on this website, like that's an avocado, but it's got a face, but the face is inside of itself. And this thing is eating a sandwich, and the sandwich doesn't have a face, probably because it's already bit it off. It's already eaten the face. Food can't be blamed for any of these thoughts. That's what we're saying, look. Interesting that the one at the bottom, we might eat everything on our plates because that's what an adult drummed into us. I mean, that was... I'm probably not the only person here who recognises the concept of having to finish all your dinner, am I? But even though it said it there, I still don't think it's bad because it's been drummed into me. I can't escape that. It seems like a good idea to eat all my dinner. But it's saying here, what it's actually saying is that even that is one of those ideas that maybe you don't feel, maybe you feel full before you finish your dinner, and maybe that's okay. Maybe put less on your plate to start with. Maybe you'll learn to do that after more mindful eating practice. But just eating it because it's on your plate, that's not mindful eating. That's doing the thing because you've had it drummed into you, because of your routine and your social conditioning, and we're breaking away from that. It's interesting. And it's interesting that food can't be blamed for the thoughts. Thoughts, ideas, feelings, the cognitive triangle, actions. We can be involved in that. But the avocado itself. Another reason that, well, a little quick bit of vegan chat here. People say, what if animals are alive and also a plant is alive as well? So you eat things that are alive, don't you? But, an avocado doesn't have its own thoughts and drives. And we're pretty certain on that, other than to propagate. And the plant does propagate. Me taking the avocado doesn't kill the plant. So, yeah. Food is not giving me funny ideas itself. The food itself is not giving me any ideas. They're all everything else around it. And here we've got a happy headphone wearer eating a burger. That looks like, and it probably is very reflective of me. I do eat a lot of vegan burgers. Without understanding the thoughts and emotions involved in our relationship with food, there can be no room for change. One of the biggest realizations that comes with mindful eating is how much we're influenced by what we think and feel. Is ethical eating tied to mindful eating? Yes. I'm going to say bang, yes. Yes. Just quickly show you a couple of things. Mental Health Monday's got its own YouTube channel now. That's what I've been doing this week, uploading loads of videos to that. We're going to upload them to there. So you'll be able to see this episode there in the coming week. And at the start, we talked about some of these other aspects up here. about choosing why we eat what we eat. And the food doesn't jump on the plate there, that one with the cake. About the why we choose food and our choices and the reasons we make the choices. So absolutely, yes, ethical eating comes into that. Mindfully choosing foods for ethical reasons is a good idea. You know, it's not a bad idea at all. It's not exactly mindful eating in terms of listening to what your body is telling you in terms of and it's okay, 2 points here. It's not just saying what's my body telling me, mindfully taking that on board, going and doing it. You're allowed to make these other choices as well, what's good for the world. You know, absolutely. And the other point I was going to make was that we say about listening to our bodies. If it was just listening to my body, I'd have no idea what to eat, because all my body can tell me is hungry and sick. You know, if I eat the wrong thing, my body's not going to give me a detailed breakdown and printout of what nutritional value I was lacking. You know, if I'm chewing down on cat litter, my body's not going to alert me that my concentration of cat poopies is increasing at a rapid rate. You know, like there's no way of listening to your body in that sense. But what we can understand now through science is how different things work in our bodies. You can learn about that and then use that information to analyze how you feel and say which of these things might be doing this, might be doing that. Maybe if I have some more of this, I've eaten a lot of that this week and I feel this. You know, you can start to get a good judgment going in that sense. So it's not just about listening to your body, it's also about listening to sensible ideas, sensible, you know, facts that we can check and cross-reference, science, health, biology, you know, those sort of things. And that also includes ethical ideas as well, because they're ideas that are important. If you don't think about the sustainability of the world, then you might not have a world to do any eating in. So it's quite cool to be doing that. Yeah. And it's not the food's fault, but it's also not your fault, is what we found out here. It's the fault of everyone else around you and your parents. Blame your parents for everything. It's their fault. They made me eat my spaghetti. I wasn't even hungry. I was hungry. I did eat all my spaghetti. So, without understanding our thoughts, we haven't got much chance. One of the biggest realizations that comes is how much we're influenced by what we think and feel. Food is fuel. We need it to live. Once we get a handle on our thoughts and emotions around food, we weaken its hold over us and learn not to judge ourselves so harshly. We realise that much of our behaviour is mind over matter, and we can get to a place where food isn't such a great source of stress. That's nice. Got a couple of stories about this. So I like your Garfield picture. It makes me think of food every time, Garfield, and his lasagna. A couple of interesting points about mind over matter and food. One, when I was a kid, I went round my friend's house and we had beans on toast. I don't like beans. I do now. I'll eat them now. When I was that kid, though, that little kid, didn't like the beans. But I was also quite a shy kid, and so I didn't want to say I don't like beans. And everyone else was eating them, and I didn't want to leave them just not eat them. That's rude. So I just ate all the beans on toast, all of it, and it wasn't that bad. You know, it wasn't hurting me. I wasn't like, it was just a bit, so it was the consistency, the texture of the baked bean, the texture, that soft texture. I didn't like that. Beans on toast. Yeah, we have beans on toast is a consistent, regular British meal. That's like a normal tea time. Couple of bits of toast, tin of beans on toast. You have beans on toast. It's normal, so normal, but not for me. Didn't like it. But point being, working around to this, it was mind over matter. I could eat it. It was food. It wasn't my favourite food, but it wasn't so horrible it's going to, make me ill. In fact, it's quite good food, quite nutritious food. So I just put my feelings and things aside and got on with the job of eating it and did so. And, sometimes things in life aren't that easy to do, aren't that enjoyable to do. You can still do them. can't you? Especially if they're good for you. So I got on with that, and I did that, and it taught me a good lesson, which was, sometimes I can eat the foods that I'm not that particularly into if I have to. Yeah, good lesson. And then mind over matter. I mean, maybe you've had a similar experience. Maybe you've had a food that you felt, for whatever reason, in my case, it was shyness in a social situation, but for whatever reason, you felt it's appropriate to eat this, and it's not really your thing, but you've ate it anyway, and it's not turned out bad. It's been okay. Maybe that's happened to you. Another one I've got is through being a student, and later on, through this COVID, not having so many things in the cupboard, not just going to the supermarket and buying whatever you feel like it, whenever you feel like it, getting hungry and looking in the cupboards and saying, well, this is what we've got, and it's not my first choice of this. I've had a tin of that in the cupboard for a while, maybe I'd better use this. Those sort of meal times have come around. And when I was a student, especially as well, this was more the case when I was a student, sometimes I would just do like pasta, peas, gravy. Was there anything else in that dish? Maybe back then I used to eat meat, so a tin of tuna might have gone in there. But really simple but nutritiously valuable, simple food, and just scarfed it down. Yeah, I used to do that because it was fuel to live. And I know a lot of these gym goers have got their fuel literally, like, it's called gym fuel, isn't it, or whatever. Like, they do the gamer fuel, don't they? The drinks, fuel. It's not enjoyable. I mean, it might be enjoyable, but it's looked at as like a engine fuel, rocket fuel for your body. It's in this different context, isn't it? We're talking about enjoying things, choosing them for good reasons, for nutritious, for environmental, as we will see in a minute, for other experimental reasons, and enjoying it and taking it in, and it being good for you, and not just good for you physically, but good for your soul, to take your time over these choices, and then to take your time when you're eating and enjoying these things. I hope I haven't completely paused then. Am I back enjoying these things? Yeah, no, I'm working. It's just sometimes it's stuttering, isn't it? Stuttering. Everybody's stuttering. We realise it's mind over matter. And that was what I was saying. Yeah. So in COVID, there have been some mind over matter moments where I've said, look, I'm just going to have to eat this. I don't want to eat this, but it's what we've got in the cupboard, and we're not going to the supermarket, and we're not getting any, treats for another week. So I'm not having any treats for a week. The end, yeah, that's happened. And it made me realise again, mind over matter, how important some things were and how unimportant other things were. My treats weren't that important. I started making more cake, I'll tell you that. I started making myself my treats, because that's cheap, affordable, and it's in the cupboard mainly. The egg is replaceable with some of the things in your cupboard sometimes. But yeah, that's just a little chat about that. And that's what this is. It's mind over matter. It's not about judging ourselves. It's not about falling back on our own old ideas. This is a good one. This is a really good one. If you're a younger person maybe who gets forced to eat your greens, or if you have internalized that concept of I don't like vegetables, maybe it's slimy mushrooms, maybe it's bitter broccoli, there's sprouts. There's a few things out there that consistently, as we've talked about, culturally you've been taught aren't very nice. But maybe you yourself might want to, independent of these people telling you, you might want to check that out yourself. Do you really not like this? Is it the way it's been cooked? Is it that maybe someone else can do it? Maybe char grilled broccoli is nicer than boiled broccoli. Maybe a mushroom's got a lot of water in it, and maybe if you cook out that water first in a dry pan before you then start cooking with the mushroom, it's got a lot of strength and flavour and less of that slime. Maybe there's different ways of doing things, and maybe you could rediscover something that you'd written off. Mind over matter. It's not just fuel, but if you want to treat it as fuel, you can. And when you start looking at it like that, you start opening out things that you might consider eating, even if you, as your parents used to say, they'll eat it if they're hungry. Yeah, I had that, exactly that as well. You'll eat that if you're hungry. But I used to think, well, I am hungry, but I don't like that. So how is this working? And I used to remember sometimes chewing something up and thinking, oh my God, I don't like this. Now what? Like, do I have to swallow this? Can I spit it out? And I used to think the adults had all the choices. So if I don't, maybe I can have the things I want and not the things that I don't want. Maybe I can choose. But it was only when I became a more cognitive adult myself that eat it if I'm hungry really came into force. Yeah, it's weird, that is, actually. I would have thought maybe as a child you would be more prone to just, if you are hungry, just eating if you're hungry. But maybe there's some sort of stubbornness in there, this illusion of choice. The adults had choice and I didn't, the something, I don't know. I'm not going to go deeply into my own psyche there, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? If you eat it if you're hungry, maybe you might choose not to, even though you are. But what we're learning here is that you can. And you shouldn't judge yourself so harshly for those choices because of all these things going on around you. Yeah. It's not going to be a source of stress. It's going to be a source of enjoyment. The benefits. The benefits are, of course, subjective. You can be more healthy. They describe different ways of being more healthy. Scientific research talks about a growing body of research, and this is the one I picked out here from Harvard Medical Health, where essentially people were treated for binge eating through mindfulness. They meditated. They discovered that it reduced the binge eating. So it's there in science. It suggests that a more considered way of eating steers people away from unhealthy choices. So generally, without telling them what to eat, what we discovered in this, well, we didn't, they discovered it, is that just by allowing people the time to think about it more, they made better choices. So that's pretty cool. It bothers me that we have a separate kids menu here in the US. Yeah, that's really interesting as well. When I was a kid, we went to so many places where the kids menu was... It seemed to me, I almost felt like we had the same kids menu wherever we went. I thought there was some secret chefing going on where every, like the adults had their own menu and the kids menu was the same at every restaurant, like chicken nuggets and chips, burger and chips, thing and chips. You could change the chips for a baked potato. And I was looking at the adult. I remember this really, really clearly. Fries, yeah, American fries. Chicken and chips. I remember looking at the food that adults were eating and just being like, can I have that? And then it would be like a comedy thing, like a comedic aspect of the mealtime. I look like I'm paused, but I'm not paused. I'm not paused. I'm working. A comedic aspect of the mealtime when the kids would say, "Oh, can I eat what you're eating?" And then the adults would give them a forkful, and then, "Oh, what do you think of that? Ha ha ha! That's spicy, isn't it? Ha ha! I bet you don't expect that." Or, "Do you like this? It's a sprout. Ha ha ha! That's rubbish." But I mean, I've got a vivid memory of being a kid and coming downstairs because the adults were having a dinner party. They were eating their dinner together, and I wanted to come and join in, and so they offered me vegetables as if it was like, you don't want to be here eating this, you want to be in bed, we're eating vegetables. So I ate the vegetables and was like, I'll do what I have to. But yeah, the kids menu, I completely agree. I think that needs to go. I think it needs to go. Looking at adults eating real food and then thinking to myself, why is mine made in the microwave? It was just sad. And then as I became the adult and was able to choose the things off the menu, I took so much enjoyment out of that. I appreciate that maybe some kids aren't going to like as much of the adult food. You should just put the kids menu should just be smaller portions of the adult stuff, shouldn't it? But the reason they're not liking it is, as we've seen in this mindful eating research, that it's about the conditioning. So the reason they're not liking it is because you're teaching them not to like it. So then when they grow up, they don't have as much desire for variety. And again, these ideas are not accidental. I said at the start about how post-war our government tried to educate the populace into eating more healthy. They had bad ideas about what was healthy, And they were also promoting the agenda of the farmers and the people who produced food in the country, because they had their interests at heart, not only because they're powerful donors, powerful party members of the Conservative Party, but also because it was important to get those industries going again. So we promoted eating meat, we promoted eating eggs, we promoted milk and dairy, and it turned out those weren't very good for you. So now we're changing what we promote, and the governments are having a hard time of it because there's some very wealthy landowners who are very heavily invested in some of these ideas. So that's what's going on in politics. But yeah, smaller portions of the same food, maybe slightly, but yeah, exactly, it'd just be fine. And if you're a chef, this is another thing that used to baffle me, and we're going to come on to this with the vegan thing at the end as well. If you're a chef, then not being able to cook for a child is a deficiency in your ability as a chef, and you should be removed from your job, because children are people. Like, if you're a doctor and you don't know how to fix a child's problems, you're not a good doctor, are you? You know, children are just people. They're just people. They like to eat food, so you can cook for children just as easy. Make a couple of kids menu ideas that are not like, you know, burger and chips thing, because what that was doing was like saying, look, people are going to bring their kids to these places. We want to make sure the kids eat food that they like. They're not going to reject it. Say, I don't like this one. You like chicken nuggets? There you go. You can have your chicken. The parents don't have to think anymore. They can enjoy themselves. The kids get their thing. They get a little toy and a funny map, so it keeps them entertained. And we can make some money. It's all about making the business some money. It wasn't about the benefit for the kids. It wasn't about what's good for children. It was about how can we make some more money? How can we keep the children better behaved? How can we churn out cheaper food for more profit and get more people, more bums in seats? Yeah. But hopefully we've got different ideas now. Hopefully, you know, we can push different ideas. I appreciate as well, it's more difficult in America in ways. What I was talking about, the post-war stuff. In America, it's, you know, increased times 10, isn't it? Times a million. The farm sizes are huge. The amount of invested value in corn production, animal production, those sort of things is huge. So it's hard to change the way a society sustains itself, especially when those people don't want you to change it because they're invested in it. You know, it's hard. But the main thing I believe is that if people are educated, you know, if we're looking at, this is a really great, what I love about this week's Mental Health Monday, hopefully you will be enjoying this too, is that this that we're doing here today is part of that. It's part of that gentle change in the world that we can all be part of. And through learning, it doesn't matter what the farmers are telling you and the government is promoting and the adverts. It doesn't matter about McDonald's is 2 for 1, you know, about their fucking Whoopi burger. I swore. Hi Nick, it's nice to see you, nice to have you here. I was saying earlier that I replied to your message here on stream. Yes, I did try and stream, and no, it didn't work, and the settings, the kilobytes, they're up now, they're working now. I've been talking for an hour, it's got used to me, it's decided to let me go ahead. But earlier in the week I did try and it didn't work. Yeah, so the Muck Whoopi burger, right? Your Muck Whoopi burger. I got distracted and forgotten what my point was. My point was that we can learn now. We don't have to listen to McWhoopi Burger because they've got loads of money. You know, just because they're pumping through on your phone with the adverts, you don't have to listen to them. We know that's bad. We've learned that is bad. We've learned that listening to them is bad. We've learned they don't have our best interests at heart. We've learned that they have their interests at heart. They're not even good for the planet. They're destroying the planet we live on. So they're bad for that. Naughty Whoopi Burger, right? But on the same phone that's trying to pump us adverts, we can also access the information, the true information, the real information, the science. What's good for you? What's good for the world? How can we be part of that instead? And then have a good body, healthy feeling, yummy food. We're not saying Whoopi Burger is the only kind of yummy food. Absolutely, Whoopi Burger does taste nice, doesn't it? Some people like the taste of a Whoopi Burger, but it's not the only food, right? It's not the only food. There are more other yummy foods other than Whoopi Burger, so we can have that. Absolutely, we're science on that. We're pointing our science at that. I want to make this food taste as good as it can fucking well taste. Pointing that at that, but also I don't want to have to chop a cow's head off to have it. I don't want to have to feed a cow. We'll come on to that later if we've got time. But the general point I'm making, yeah, you know, isn't that good? The science is going to teach people, the education. And so it doesn't matter what Mr. Farmer, Mr. Tracts of Land, it doesn't matter how much money you've got, it doesn't matter how deeply, invested you are in the Republican Party or the Conservative Party in the UK. It doesn't matter how much money you give to these people. You're not going to choose what I eat. You're not going to baffle me. Not in today's day and age. No way, mate. No way, mate. I'm not going to be fooled by you with your money grubbing, with your horrible, nasty ways. I'm not going to do things that are good for you and your horrible money. I'm going to do things that are good for these people and their well-being. I'm going to do things that are good for my family and their well-being. And their well-being and these people, that's you I'm pointing at. you. Yeah. Us. Yeah, I'm going to do what's good for us. And then Mr. and Mrs. Farmer, non-denominational gender farmer, you can come as well. I'm not going to hate you on what you've done. You just got to stop doing it. Leave it alone. Come on. You can change. You can keep your tracts of land. We'll plant. So you're already growing soybeans. Well, it's all right then. Why you want to feed them to the cows? We'll talk about that in a minute. In a recent review of the literature concluded that mindful eating promotes not only positive eating, but also leads to moderate and sustained weight loss. We looked at that. More studies. They looked at 18 different studies in a review about mindful eating and overeating. So it's all there in another link. The difficulty with diets is that most people lose weight in the first year, but the vast majority regain that weight with the following 5 years. The initial... that's clever, isn't it? That initial weight loss is often considered a success story. So when you see those pictures of I lost all these pounds, the weight's come off, it doesn't matter what they look like in those pictures. It matters how they live the next 10 years, doesn't it? They might put it all back on. Oh, that's interesting. Whereas mindful eating is not that, is it? It's changing how you think about things long term. It's a sustainable... Hey cow, that's my Sotheby. Yeah, exactly. I don't not feel bad for the cows though. The cows don't want to get pushed around and brutalised. So, I wonder what it'd be like if we bred a human to produce as much milk as possible. If every generation this is going somewhere I don't want it to go. I'm not going to get too following down this road, but just to point out, what would it be like if you developed, hyper evolved a person to be a certain way, just to produce. It's natural in the animal world that the milk production, isn't it? Let's not have the natural. Let's go mad. Let's see how much we can pump out. Yeah, generation by generation as well. Let's change them. Let's change their DNA. Can we change the? Are we allowed to do that? Can we get in and change their DNA? Let's change that. I'm down here. I'm rubbing my hands. Let's change their DNA. Can we do that? Can we change their DNA? What isn't it? How will they? They're not designed to. How will they feel about that? How do they feel? Don't swear. I've got to edit that out now. It is not 18 plus this stream, but don't swear. Swearing's bad. I just said it to us. Impersonating an evil farmer. It's not even that they're evil. It's just they're confused. Some of them are evil. Right. Headspace for mindful eating, and this is they're going to sell their 30-day course. Forget their 30-day course and their book. Well, you don't have to forget it. You can get it if you want. It might be nice. Not on my behalf. I don't know. I haven't vetted it. I can't tell you. It's just a nice website with some good tips. And these are some good tips which I wanted to talk about. Stock your cupboard with foods you like. That sounds daft. Who's going to stock their cupboard with foods they don't like? But it's fine. You can put things you want to eat in your cupboards. That's fine. You don't have to throw out all the food you like. Try eating with your non-dominant hand or using a different utensil. That's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? If you eat right-handed, try eating with your left hand. What it does is it automatically slows you down and makes you think. Quite interesting. Explore new tastes, textures or flavours. Again, textures. Don't be putting new food on your face. Don't be rubbing it on. Oh, how does this cake feel? This cake feels nice. Human milk. I'm not going to talk about human milk. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not an expert. Explore the texture of your food. Yeah. Don't rub it on your face. There's the mindful eating one more time on that, because that's important. This is 6 ways to practice it. And I think we're going to run up to 2 hours, aren't we, on mindful eating? I only wanted to do an hour, and then I wanted to talk about the last thing, which I'm going to bring up. Should I do it now? Save the planet. Save the planet. Shut up about your veganism. I'll just quickly bang through these then, because this was fun, this one. 6 ways to practice mindful eating. It's got your mindless and your mindful. Mindless, eating past full and ignoring your body's signals. As we learned today, it takes 20 minutes for your body to tell you that you're full. You carry on eating in that 20 minutes and then you feel full and you've eaten 20 minutes too much. Mindful eating. Listen to your body. Stop when you're full. Take some time. Pace it out. Get used to the idea. Eating when emotions tell us to eat. That's bad. That's mindless. I feel sad. I'm going to eat it. Choff one of them. I'm bored. What's in the cupboards? Eating when our bodies tell us to eat. My tummy is rumbling. I feel like it's been a while since time for lunch. That's mindful. Mindless. Eating alone at random times and places. I don't know about that one, eating alone. I don't know. Is it? Because I thought eating with others at set to... Oh, no. Yeah, mindful is the eating with others. I thought it was eating on your own and concentrating. But no, you can do it with others. You can do it with others. Not randomly. Set times and places. Meal times. Not just, I'm walking past Mucky D's, there's a whoopie burger, I might as well have one. Eating foods that are emotionally comforting, that's mindless. You're allowed to do it sometimes, it's okay. But eating foods that are nutritionally healthy, that's mindful. You're supposed to do it more often than not. Not just supposed to as well. And they're not mutually exclusive. Nutritionally healthy can be comforting. It's just that you've been taught to eat these unhealthy foods when you're sad and when that's what they've been offering you. They've not been coming to you with the good nutritional foods. And when you're sad, chicken soup, the Jewish mother's concept of chicken soup, even though I'm a vegan, it turns out that in chicken soup there is some goodness. Some natural penicillin like goodness. Science, trust me on this, science. It turns out part of the process, the chemical composition, there are goodness things in it that are good for you when you're poorly. It's not just a random, but it's chicken, that's bad for the vegan, but it's comfort food, but it's good for you. It doesn't have to be that nutritionally healthy equals not comforting and rubbish and I hate the taste of it. You can really enjoy the taste of something that's nutritionally healthy. You can have both. Live the dream, baby, live the dream. Eating and multitasking is mindless. I'm eating this cake while I'm talking to you. Naughty, mindless. Just eating. I'm going to go and have my dinner and sit down and eat it. Not going to do it when I'm doing the other thing and mindlessly. Eating is a thing. Yeah, mindful. Mindless, considering a meal an end product. What do they mean? Considering a meal an end product. It makes more sense with the mindful aspect, considering where food comes from. Consider where it comes from. That means not just having it and it's an object and it's done, but considering the backstory, where it comes from, why it's there, how it's there, what's going on. That's your ethical that we were talking about earlier. That's your ethical. It's important. It's not just important to you and your mindfulness, it's important to everyone. It's important. Mindful kitchen, we haven't got time for this. Because considering where food comes from. How does going vegan help save the planet? Oh, he's not going to make me be a vegan now. But we all know this, don't we? I'm not going to bang on about it too much. They put a picture of a sprout because they are. Oops. It's a planet. Oh, I see. It's clever. It's a cabbage and a planet. But you don't need to do that because the organic nature of Earth is that the Earth... You didn't need to turn it into like a cabbage. It's not that vegans are anything to do with cabbages. It's not that cabbages are synonymous with veganism. That Earth, without the cabbage bit, that Earth, that's vegan, isn't it? That's all the stuff. All the vegetables are on the Earth, the water, the grass, that's the Earth. That's what we're about. You don't have to cabbagize it. Don't need the cabbage bit. I mean, cabbages are nice. I actually like cabbage, a nice bit of fried cabbage. I like it. You don't have to do that. You didn't have to make that connection. Because the Earth is organic. the earth is a great big living, got confused there, didn't you, with the old cabbage, and complain. Here's the vegan complaining, isn't he? Complaining about this. You like kimchi? Kimchi's nice, it is. And our friend LA devotee will know all about kimchi because they're in Korea. Kimchi's cabbage. It's nice, so it is nice. But let's not tar vegans with this funny, silly green brush. Not unnecessarily. But the facts are, it's saying it here in the Wired. So Wired is science, isn't it? Is it? No, yes. It says at the top, Matt Reynolds, Science, Wired, magazine. It's facts. It's facts. We eat way too much meat. This is the UK, facts. All those animal products have an environmental footprint. It's bad. It's not just carbon dioxide. It's not just that all the animals produce loads of carbon dioxide. It's not just that they're bad, the treatment of them, and they feel bad. That's the sad bit, the bad treatment. You see those lovely lambs in the fields and they chuff them up, don't they, and then people eat them. It's not just the carbon dioxide, it's all sorts of business. 75% of the ground's been used for the farming. There's all the facts. Look into it. What I wanted to go on and say, this is my article in the Independent as well. Veganism is the single biggest way to reduce our environmental impact. A study, this is 20th September 2020, so it's new news, it's environmental studies, it's facts. Have a look. What I wanted to say though is, look, this is Satan. What? Satan? What? What's Satan? What, Satan's into cooking and barbecues? What? Satan, Satan's the devil. He's got funny horns and he comes at you. Woo! Or woo, or whatever. He's not this. This isn't Satan. What are you on about? That looks a little bit like meat, doesn't it? A little bit. Like a meatloaf. What's going on? Masculinity is linked to bacon consumption. Exactly. Exactly. What funny cultural concepts we have. Egged on by Homer Simpson. I love it when you talk about veganism and people come up with the bacon thing. It always makes me think of Homer Simpson. Oh, bacon. Okay, fair play. You have that. You be Homer Simpson. You live in that world. Me and Satan. What this is, it's something you might not have eaten before. It is made of gluten. Some people are gluten-free. Maybe it's not that good for you and your particular choices. But my guessing is you might not be that experienced in the cooking of Satan. Yeah, it's gluten. Fair enough. But I didn't know what this was until I started on the old vegan trail. I didn't know what it was. Didn't know all the different things you could do with it. Been enjoying it. Sometimes it makes me feel a bit like, oh, I've had too much gluten, to be honest. Sometimes that does happen. So what? This is it. This is Satan. Why am I going on about it? There's a whole world. Oh, I'm closing my eyes. It's starting. Oh, there's a whole world of foods out there that are vegan, that are non-dairy, that are probably gluten-free as well. There's a whole world of them. This is 10 unusual vegetables. I've grown that radish. I haven't, not that one, but I've grown radishes just like them, watermelon radishes. I've never grown a cardoon. I've never grown an ochre. Looks a bit funny, doesn't it, little potato? Oh, if they're Jerusalem. Oh no, we have grown them, those little funny potatoes. We have celeriac, grown that. Malabar spinach, not grown that. Kohlrabi, grown that. Sea kale, I've grown that. Amaranth, not grown that. Winter radishes, I've grown them. Salsify, I've grown that. So there's some tempeh or soy, if you're gluten intolerant. There's another one, isn't it? The tiny tempeh. And I've got Satan up here. And I'll tell you who's the other one we can go for. Tofu as well, can't we? Ofu. Well, that looks pretty. That looks pretty. We'll lose that if you don't all start eating vegan. Or just making smaller adjustments towards better things for the world and for yourself. This is soy tofu. I don't know. I'm not an expert on what tofu is, but there it is. It's different. I know it's just it's steak or it doesn't. Forget whether. Don't pretend it is a steak. Just look at it as something new you've never had, and what can you do with it? Is it interesting? Is it fun? There's that. There's all these different vegetables that you probably haven't eaten There's a lot of unloved vegetables, vegetables, but it looks good. It's nice colours. It's not just that. Like I said earlier, you can char grill the broccoli. You can do different things. Maybe if you start a journey of exploration into cooking with more vegetables. Look, there's beetroot on there. How many people cook with beetroot regularly? How many things can you do with beetroot? Can it be nice? Yeah, really nice. Are you enjoying that? No, I'm having a steak every single fucking day. I'm having a McChuffy burger every chuffing day. Maybe those choices. No, maybe that's not the choice. Maybe that's not the choice. I don't know. It's up to you. Get a good tofu press. Look, you see now. Snips is well ahead of the game here. I'm preaching to the choir here, but my general point is that being vegan is not a cutting off of your leg. It's not a throwing away of all the things in your cupboard that you really enjoy. Some of the things you might choose not to have in the long run. You might still eat the final jar of whatever it is that's in your cupboard. You might not feel like it after you've thought about animals deeply enough. But maybe you still do, whatever. It's not going to harm me to go and have a McWhoopie burger. I'm a vegan. I haven't eaten these sort of things in a long time, but I have eaten these things, these vegetables. But I can go and have a McWhoopie burger. It's probably going to make me feel a bit, but I can have it, whatever. It's not going to destroy everything in one go. It's not a big thing. It's just a little process. You start getting soy milk. You start not buying the cheese anymore. Just little changes, and then you start discovering things. This is a good picture. In the middle of this one, come on. In the middle of that one, that's Pak Choy. Now, Pak Choy is not the usual vegetable that everyone's always eating 9 to 5. You don't have a steak and potatoes and Pak Choy, do you? Not always. But these varieties, these other things start becoming the centerpiece in your dishes more. You start to enjoy the exploration more, and these things start to sing more and become more main players in your dinner. And when you're doing that, can you donate that stuff to a food pantry? I'll tell you what, I have an allotment, and sometimes I'll grow too much stuff and they don't want it. They don't want the donations in foods that can spoil. So instead, I just give it to my neighbours and my friends. But yeah, fresh vegetables and other things. There's a whole world of it out there, and it can be exotic as well. It can be like I put Asian vegetables. Like, they're different now, maybe to what or maybe they're not. Like, maybe the Western ones are different. What I'm saying is there's more things to be discovered the more you go into it. And so Thai cooking, Japanese cooking, there's lots of things there to discover and enjoy as part of your mindful eating experience, because now you're not just shoveling in the whoopie burger anymore. You're going on a global tour of novel and interesting ideas, sampling things, exploring. And there's restaurants out there that provide that sort of experience for you. You can go to these different places around the world without having to visit the world. They've brought it to you. So, a lot of people choose to go to the same restaurant over and over because they like the way they do that one thing. But even though it seems like a bit of a risk to choose some food you've never had before, maybe it's more fun in a way. So that's my little plea and what am I saying? That's my little explore new tastes. That's my I can't think of the word for it. It's good. It's good. It's good. And veganism is part of it. It is part of it. I'm not rabbiting about animals at you. It's just good for you. I'm helping, throwing you a rope, not a bone. But veganism is important. Look, I just pressed the wrong button there. It went to the news. We don't want to see the whole news media. Don't show us all of the news. So that's mindful eating. It's not just about taking time when you're eating to savor the flavor and the taste. Yeah, absolutely, it's that. But it's also taking the time to make good choices about what you eat and to think about the wider context of why. So you be good, my little podcast. You be good. If I choose to edit it here, then I can chop. I had some other little bits and pieces to look at as well. Mainly, it was going to be, I was going to read my little script, but I don't think I'm going to do that now because it's nearly dog walking time.